So he says to him like this, "Oh, how come you can't see me?" That I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. Concerning the letter on Tshuva, great is indeed, Rav Kook speaking about himself, my longing to merit preparing and arranging it properly. A letter on Tshuva to the people of Israel. Yet, in proportion to the greatness of this matter, so too there are many obstacles in doing it. Especially difficult for me is the task of explanation, the challenge of estimating how far to lower the mysteries of the world, to bring the teachings of Kabbalah, how far to bring them down into the world, and where is there the boundary of that which is the concealed of the ancient one, which we are not to breach that boundary, but there is a certain, that's what I need to bring down for people here. We have to bring the teachings from the Kabbalah, what's known as the Kabbalah, but the inner teachings, the secret teachings, how much to bring them into everybody's awareness so they're no longer secret. And he says, may God illuminate for us his path, the path of holiness. How do I do this in a holy way? And he says, at the foundation of everything must come a general explanation of the confidence in tshuva. That we really need to have confidence that it works. The power of its serenity, because we know it's working, and the mighty joy that must clothe the soul of every person in whom the light of tshuva shines. It's like a letting go of the darkness and letting the light shine, and it's an experience of joy and serenity, not fear and anxiety. Alongside, it must be clarified how this true joy and the pleasant radiance of holiness does not, God forbid, diminish the yirah, the awe of God, nor do they detract in the slightest from the soul's inner awakening for tshuva, all the things that we acquire through lower tshuva, the lower forms of tshuva. Because there's tshuva elyona, and there's tshuva tachtona. And the return to Israel is returning to the Torah elyona. And tshuva elyona is at the foundational to it. So we also have to clarify how to do the stuff in the tshuva tachtona in a harmonious way. On the contrary, once we have a sense of this higher tshuva, that increases the essential power of the spiritual diligence and the alacrity, the clear thinking and looking that the lower person can do about what I need to do and what I need to understand and all the lower stuff. But at the same time, as we're doing that, the supreme greatness of the radiant kindness of primordial light fills all the chambers of our soul with immense trust. Trust means your confidence, security, really knowing that it's real to the point. But just that image, supreme greatness of the radiant kindness of primordial light fills all the chambers of our soul. So then we're in, trust is not the right word here, but it's an extraordinary security. And, yes. And then we get to the point, and this is sort of where we left off, through faithful strength with the fullness of the soul, a sacred original song bursts forth, and it declares with splendor and vibrant life. And now he quotes it to Tehillim: He who forgives all your iniquities, heals all your diseases, redeems your life from the pit, and crowns you with kindness and compassion, and satisfies your years with goodness, and your youth is renewed like the eagles. That's what the feeling is like. All our iniquities are forgiven, all our diseases are healed, our lives are redeemed from the pits. We're crowned with kindness and compassion, and our years are satiated with goodness, and our youth is renewed like eagles. We're always eagles soaring. And then this trust grows stronger, and joy and radiance increase until the soul begins to feel with a pure, delicate inner sense how all the sins on every level, and even more so, all our intentional misdeeds, they're transformed into complete merits. That's the transformation takes place. It's not just a midrashic idea, this transformation. It really takes place. That when we do tshuva in the real way, it reaches the point that even the sins and the unintentional misdeeds are transformed into zchuyot shleimot in the Hebrew, and then great treasure, abundant wealth are revealed from the storehouses of darkness. And then again, this is where we left off. My soul shall exult in the Lord, shall rejoice in his salvation, and all my bones shall say, Lord, who is like you, who saves the poor from one stronger than he or her, who saves the poor and the needy from their despoiler. That's, let's see. Now, the mind. Yeah, so now people are with me? All right. Vega. I want to go a little further in English, sorry. And then in that experience, the mind ascends to the heights of might, to the upper world, the root world of all being in its noble form and its supreme delight. We really, our consciousness is elevated to the upper world, the root world of all being, in its supreme delight. And then what happens? The cycle of every sin and transgression begins to reverse through the elevation of the will towards goodness and the holiness of God. And so the cycle, the path of all the sin and transgression, they start to go in a different way. And they all start walking the path of life that brings blessing and eternal joy to all creation. He makes it yashar, straight upon the heavens. And the way of Israel is the way of yashar, and God's light upon the wing of the earth. And then all of us open into one song, the song of Adam, that's empowered by tshuva, which we're told is a song for the Shabbat day. And there's a whole medrash about the song of Adam, that is the song when we're returned to the Garden of Eden and we sing it on Shabbat. And then he ends it, for you have gladdened me, Hashem, with your deeds. I sing for joy at the work of your hands. Okay, that's as far as we got yesterday. In the letter that he's writing to Rabbi Charlap, in his primary student, he continues. Kol ele hadvarim leprateim. All of these things that I've been listing in all their details, ad kedei lehaviam ad makom ha'maaseh. It's necessary to bring them to the place of action. It's literally to the place of action. U lehat imam lechol hamadregot kulan, and make them fit in all the levels, in all ways necessary. Matimam is a beautiful word. The root word is emet. Litom is to make things appropriate for each other if they fit in. Matim, they say that about people. Matim with each other. It's appropriate for each other, and here he's saying it's taking all this illumination that he's been describing and bring that into the level of all our actions and make them fit in to all the areas that are necessary. Lahat imam is to make it fit in. Lahalot kol bechina shel nefila, to elevate every aspect of falling. Shel kol echad mi Israel, of every single individual in Israel. Am chaviv. Beloved nation. Chaviv is a beautifully affectionate word. Am kadosh. Holy Am. Mikol makom shehu. In every place it is. This is in 1912. The majority were all over the planet, not in Israel. Mikol omek amakim, for every deep valley, and maybe even, speaking about it sociologically, from every deep depths, shel tachtiot haaretz, that are in the underground of the earth, they're in the pits of the earth, bein ma'aseh, bein badat, whether in action, whether in thinking. I think he's implying here that they're caught in depths of whatever that are coming from the underground. It's not high thinking. Ad haketze ha'aron, because we're speaking about, we are going to elevate every aspect of every single individual of Israel. That we are there, each one is so beloved, this holy people, wherever they are, wherever their consciousness is, wherever they are, whether they're caught in all these actions of the junk or whether they're in consciousness of that. Until the very end, we reach everyone, we'll bring them all le'or ha'chaim, to the light of life. V'dafka lehovilam b'smachot v'gil, and specifically to bring them along with joy and jubilation. This is what Shlomo mastered. But that's what KOOK was saying. This, we have to do it with make it like these joyful experiences. Belo shum derech otzev, without any sign of sadness. Uberuach oz, and with a strong spirit. Ve'gvurat ra'am. It's another very strong word, with a mighty roar, to bring Israel along. Where? With all that? Bemesilot kodesh, in pathways of holiness that are slulot umesukalot, that are paved and I guess is stoned. They've been the walking paths is maybe skila. With what? Bekoach hitgalut, with the power of the revelation of the nitutzei orot, the sparks of light. shel Yom Geula, of the day of Geula, hamitgale lanu bechol et, which is being revealed to us now at every moment, be'eretz hachaim, in our land of life. Al yedei ketz hamegule shel harei Israel hane'evadim v'hanizraim, through the revealed bringing to finalment, Kate's bringing it to its resolution of what? The hills of Israel that are being worked, ne'evadim, and seeded, nizraim. And our holy friend Randall here went through Israel recently, and the level of seeding and working the land of all levels. Absolutely. It's extraordinary. And here Rav Kook said, when it was just starting, now we are starting to work and plant the fields and the hills of Israel. More of the hills, right? It's much more hills than fields. Hanos'im pri, and they're carrying fruit. The anaf, and branches. The Am Hashem, to the people of God. Asher darshu, that called for it, that prayed for it. Let's go to the English. So all these matters of doing this tshuva, bringing this light fully, and we experience the elevation of our will towards goodness, and we're all walking the path of life that brings blessing and eternal joy to all creation. Well, we have to bring that in all its details to the realm of action and adapt it to every level, to elevate every fallen aspect of each individual in Israel, the beloved and holy people, from wherever they may be and from the deepest depths of the earth, whether in deed or thought, to the furthest edge, to elevate them toward the light of life, and specifically to lead them with joy and gladness, without any path of sorrow, but with a mighty spirit and thunderous strength, along paved and cleared paths of holiness, through the power of the revealed sparks of light from the day of redemption, which is right now being revealed to us all the time in the land of the living, through the revealed end of the mountains of Israel that are now being tilled and sown, bearing fruit and branch for the people of Hashem who seek Hashem. And then he goes on. Levarer kol ele. We have to clarify, and he's giving instructions here to his student. This is the Torah we need to give to Am Yisrael. We have to clarify in all these areas and all these things how to bring this illuminated understanding of that we're in the Geulah. We have to clarify that in a way that is sufficient to clarify this in a proper way. Sarich zman hagui v'panu, hagun v'panui. We need some not comfort time, but free time. We need freedom to be able to do that. כדי לסלק את כל יתדות הדרכים, in order to remove all the obstacles, ולהוציא את אור הגנוז מכל המחשכים הפרטיים, and to bring forth the hidden light from all the dark parts, places, שעדיין איני מוצא לעת עתה את היכולת הזה. And I have not yet found for myself the ability to do this. What he just said, this is what needs to be done. I haven't found myself able to do this, I think is what he's saying. Let's read the English. To clarify all this properly requires a fitting and spacious time to remove the stakes from the path and to draw forth the hidden light from all the particular darknesses for which I have not yet the ability to do this in time, because he's very busy. And well, it could be lots of different reasons. And he says, so therefore, Im Yavo, and the fact that they've darkened this, it says we have to pay significant, particularly to this part of the letter. Im Yavo Adam lechadesh dvarim elyonim. If someone will come to renew higher matters, beiskei atshuva bezman hazeh, dealing with tshuva in this period of time, ve'al dibrat ketz hameguleh ve'or Yeshua azrucha lo yabit, and about the conversation, what is said about the revealed end and the light of liberation as it's being shining like sunrise, he doesn't look at that. Lo yuchal lechaven shum davar le'amitata shel Torat emet. They will not be able to know anything of its truth, the truth of the Torah of truth. They're missing, they're living in in an incomplete Torah. Ki kol zman me'ir betchunato, because at every moment is being illuminated by its character. Ve'etzat Hashem asher ye'atz, and the advice of God which is being advised, which is lehachel or geula, to begin the light of liberation. That illuminated light, let's go back to the English. I might be misunderstanding the tone of it. Let's see. But if someone comes to renew lofty matters in the realm of tshuva, but doesn't look at the whole Torah of the revealed end and the dawning light of salvation, they'll not be able to direct anything towards the truth of the Torah of truth. For every time period, it shines in its own unique character. Yeah, I was reading it correctly. And the counsel of God, which God has devised in order to begin the light of redemption, is wrapped in hidden treasures. Me'ulefet b'matmonei mistarim. The word mistarim is mysteries. Kmo she'anu ro'im be'einenu, as we can see with our own eyes, by what's going on and so forth. Umokefet, and it's surrounded behamon negaim, to many infections, shel aniyei hadat, of poverty of thinking, sovlei chalaim ruchanim, those who are suffering from spiritual disease. In Hebrew, it rhymes. It's amazing how he can describe so negatively, so beautifully. That he's saying that right now we have to understand. And here he's speaking to all the rabbis who are saying, no, if they're doing it in Israel, not the way we did it in Europe, well, it's wrong. So every time period, it has its own unique character, what's happening here. And this is the counsel of God, Zionism, which God has devised to begin the light of redemption. This is what's wrapped in these hidden treasures which are coming out, as we can see, but with our own eyes. And it is surrounded by many afflictions of the poor in understanding those who are suffering spiritual ailments. So we have to understand that right now, in our very time, in ripping full out is the Geula. And imagine how we're to experience it now, and 102 years later, when look around Israel. Well, he says like this, and anyone who can't see it is got a spiritual disease. Vadai lo ya'oli kol cheshbonot. And certainly it's not going to help all the calculations. Ha'olim belev adam shemachshotav hevel, that come up in the human heart whose thinking is empty. Neged etzat Hashem, that is going against God's advice, rejecting what God is presenting him. Neged atzem Hashem ha'elyonah, the highest God advice. Asher diber tov al Israel, asher dvar tov, yeah, I think it's diber tov, who speaks good about Israel. Lechonen or geula, in order to establish the light of geula, redemption, v'derech chaim l'sha'ar amo, in order to establish the light of geula and the way of life to the rest of his nation, the rest of his people. Ha'atidim liot kulam shavei pesha, who might be all wounded. Shavei pesha is sort of, well, let's see how they translate. For kol chulshat nefesh, and every weakness of soul, pachdanut, fearfulness, rifayon ruach, timidity of spirit, mogat levava, confusion of the heart, that whole weak feeling of that Jews were carrying, Khalil Yachlof, will be completely transformed. Veruach me'oded, in a supportive spirit. Memale chaye yesha, the oneg Hashem, that is full of a life of Yeshua, liberation, and the bliss of oneg is the pleasure of God. Begodal levav, with largeness of heart. Verochav dea, an expansion of understanding. Vehigayon az, and a really strong thinking. We can really figure things out. Well, higayon, think logically. The whole Talmud is a teaching of higayon. How do we think logically? That, all this, yikach et mekomo, it will take its place. Bechol halevavot hanigashim hel Hashem behar HaKodesh. It'll take its place in all the hearts of all who are turning towards God in the mountain of holiness. Lehatzmiach fedut, to sprout redemption. Behachsharat hachaim, by improving life, perfecting life, becoming skillful at life, the word kisharon, but by really taking care of all the material things in life. Le'ometz Elohi, with a godly courage. Hamivaser tzava rav, that announces, heralds a rav is many, a big army. Shel yitzirat nefashot muchanot, a big army we create souls that are prepared. לעבודה, גאולה וישועת אמת, to the work of redemption and true redemption. ההולכות מחיל אל חיל, that they'll go from strength to strength, בגבורת ישע ימין עליון, with the power of liberation from the higher right, God's right hand, as it were, whatever the Kabbalistic meaning of the Yamin Elyon, but it's the source of divine power. He wrote that. Let's read the English, but that was his vision. And had people listened to him, we would have come in the 20s and not come described the way he describes here, post-Holocaust. So let's read just that part. We have to understand, surely, no calculations that arise in the hearts of man, whose thoughts are vanity, who are, anybody that people think, oh, it's not going to work out, or it's not, God, Israel is not going to, oh, this isn't going to go. All of that, who could possibly think that all these chatterings of people's thoughts will avail against the supreme counsel of God, who has spoken good concerning Israel, who says, I am going to do everything the prophets say, to establish, who can avail the supreme counsel of God, who has spoken good about Israel, describing that we will establish the light of redemption, and God will establish the light of redemption in the path of life for the remnant of his people. We are we are those who are destined to be redeemed from sin. The return to Israel, all of that. And then all weakness of spirit, fearfulness, faint-heartedness, and despair will vanish entirely. And a spirit of encouragement will fill life with joy and the delight of God's salvation. And then with greatness of heart, breadth of understanding, and powerful insight, it will take its place. What will? I guess this spirit of encouragement that will fill life with joy and delight of God's salvation. So the joy and delight of God's salvation will take its place in all the hearts, with greatness of heart and breadth of understanding and powerful insight. It'll take its place in the hearts and all who draw near to Hashem on his holy mountain. And it will bring forth redemption, preparing life and empowering the divine courage of the heralding of and then a great host, that's better than army, a great host of souls will be formed and ready for the work of redemption and true salvation, advancing from strength to strength in the mighty salvation of the right hand of the Most High. So the blessing is that we really understand that this is what the return to Israel is about, and that we be agents to support and be part of the great host of souls, that we should have the greatness of heart, the breadth of understanding, the powerful insight, so we can take our place in among those who can bring forth redemption, preparing life, empowering the divine courage, and we can create a great host of souls. That we are formed and ready for the work of redemption, true liberation, and advancing from strength to strength and goodness to goodness in the mighty liberation of the right hand of the Holy One, Elyon. And it's going to happen. This is what Israel, we are the agents of this. We know it, and we have the communication with the creator of this. And Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. So may the full goodness pour down, because the bad is bad in order for the good to transform it. And the power of good is much greater. And Rav Kook is really teaching the Torah of the power of good, as does the Torah. As that's at the root of Kabbalah, that the human goodwill is the divine force. The human will for good is the divine presence in the world. We can add to God's goodness, which God couldn't do without us. So may we be blessed, and may Israel win the war. It's an extraordinary war to see all the branches of it and all the way it's being expressed, and it's also very painful. And but if somebody we have a few minutes, but I'm going to stop in a few minutes because it's Wednesday evening and we're going to go continue face to face. And if anybody wants to pop over, feel free. But so, Nachum, how are things in your part of the world? At least a report on the world situation from somewhere. From our London correspondent.
Well, the news from London is not so bad, but I heard that New York has just fallen.
It's what?
I heard that New York has just fallen. The guy got in, you know.
Yeah, I know that, but I know.
Do you know, an anagram of his name is I Madman.
Oh, was that what you just said too?
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw him talk. I'd never heard him speak before. And when I heard him speak, it gave me a shiver because he's a very good speaker. He's like a real
charismatic.
He's charismatic. He really has it. And so Baruch Hashem, he's not born in America, so he can't become president. That's one positive thing, because he's got them in his hands. He's got, he said every word he said, and they're cheering him. They think he's the new Messiah.
There's such people there.
Man, the polarization that's going to expand and all that.
Yeah. Look, ultimately, we know it's all for the good, but it's hard to see at the moment.
100%.
What did you say his name, the abbreviation of his name?
An anagram is I Madman.
Oh, Madman.
Yeah.
I
mean, his policies alone, if he can carry them out, they'll bankrupt New York. He's offering free fares, free healthcare, free childcare.
So I'm moving to New York, by the way, but I got to go and start the thing here. So this is not, but I'm going to, based on what you said, I'm going to move to New York. All right. Laila Tov from Yerushalayim.